15 of the fantasy football season, and here's a few defense DST units I would start this week. The first one, the Buffalo Bills. So the Bills here, they got a good matchup versus the Carolina Panthers, who don't really even have a permanent quarterback, with reports coming out early in the week that Cam Newton and PJ Walker are going to be splitting reps here, which that never works out. If you don't have one quarterback, you don't have any, in my opinion. But anyway, the last few weeks here for Buffalo: Week 12 in New Orleans, 6 points allowed, 2 sacks in it though. Week 13 versus New England, 14 points allowed, a fumble recovery. And Week 14 at Tampa, tough ball game, no doubt about it. 33 points allowed, 2 sacks in that one. But I think they get right here versus Carolina. Like I mentioned, they got problems at quarterback. McCaffrey's out for the season here. And the Panthers give up the 4th most fantasy points DSTs on the season. So I think Buffalo gets right on defense here. And they're the home team as well. And they have a big ball game. So they're definitely a defense I would start this week. The next one's the Miami Dolphins. So the Dolphins here have a great matchup versus the New York Jets that give up the 5th most fantasy points to DSTs on the season. And this Dolphin team here, one of the hottest teams in all of pro football, winning 5 games in a row here. So the last few games for them on defense: Week 11 at the mentioned Jets, 17 points allowed, 2 sacks, a fumble recovery. Week 12 versus Carolina, 10 points allowed, 5 sacks, 3 intos, including a block kick for a touchdown. And Week 13 versus the Giants, only 9 points allowed, 3 sacks and an intos. And right here, going back to the Jets now, who they versed this week, they give up the 5th most points to defenses here. Zach Wilson, he didn't start in that ball game in Week 11. So I think right here they could get to the rookie early and often. Zach Wilson hasn't been impressive at all, in my opinion, so far in his rookie year. And I think this Dolphin defense continues to roll and has another good game, and I would start them with confidence this week here. The next defense is the Arizona Cardinals. So the Cardinals here, they're definitely going to be a top 5 defense, no doubt about it, this week here, with an amazing matchup at the Detroit Lions that give up the 6th most fantasy points to defenses this season. And after coming off a tough loss versus the Rams on Monday Night Football, we know this Arizona team's going to go out there and try to have a monster game. Week 11 for the Cardinals here at Seattle, 13 points allowed, 4 sacks. Week 13 at the Bears, 22 points allowed, 3 sacks, 4 interceptions. And Week 14 versus the Rams, like I mentioned, not a great game, 30 points allowed and 3 sacks. But I think they get right here versus Jared Goff and this week Detroit Lion offense. I think they get a few interceptions, and I think they find the end zone as well, either a block kick, fumble recovery, or a touchdown. So Arizona this week is definitely a must-start defense. The next defense is the San Francisco 49ers. So the Niners have been a middle-of-the-pack defense this week here, but they got a great matchup where you can't turn them down versus the Atlanta Falcons that give up the 3rd most fantasy points to DSTs on the season. So the last few games here for San Francisco, they've definitely been serviceable. Week 11 at Jacksonville, 10 points allowed, 3 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries. Week 12 versus a tough Viking offense, 26 points allowed, a sack and into, fumble recovery. Week 13 at Seattle, 28 points allowed, 4 sacks, an into, 2 fumble recoveries. And Week 14 at Cincinnati, 23 points allowed, 5 sacks and 2 fumble recoveries. So I think they could get to Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan this season, it's been tough for him, no doubt about it. A limited amount of weapons for him over there in Atlanta. Only Kyle Pitts and a little bit of Russell Gage really in that offense, because they'd be totally lost is Atlanta if they didn't have Cordell Patterson back there. But right here this week, San Francisco's at home. Atlanta's offense is struggling, and I think Ryan's good for a couple turnovers and to take a few sacks this week. So I like San Francisco as a start this week. And the 5th and final defense I like as a start is the Dallas Cowboys. So the Cowboys defense this season, they've been very surprising, no doubt about it. After last season, they were one of the worst defenses of all time statistically in the NFL. But right here this year, with Dan Quinn as the defensive coordinator and with rookie sensation pass rusher linebacker Micah Parsons, this defense has made a total 360 turnaround here is this Cowboy team. And they're putting up numbers. Right now, their defense is outplaying their offense, in my opinion, over the last few weeks. In Week 13, the defense won them the ball game. And Week 14, the defense definitely won them the ball game, where the offense was totally flat. So Week 12 versus Vegas, the defense got burned, no doubt about it, on Thanksgiving. 36 points allowed, 3 sacks, but Tony Pollard had a return touchdown. Week 13 in New Orleans, only 17 points allowed, 2 sacks, 4 intos, including a pick six in that ball game for Dallas. And then week 14 at Washington, they got everybody back. DeMarcus Lawrence returned. Randy Gregory returned. He had an interception. And Gallimore returned as well, a good run stuffer in the middle of the field. 14 points allowed, 5 sacks in that one, an interception, 3 fumble recoveries, and a scoop and score by Armstrong in that one with a block kick as well. So right here, week 15 at the Giants, we don't know for sure if Daniel Jones is going to start. But if it's him or Mike Lennon, I think this Cowboy team could get pressure. Giants O-line ain't that great. And like I mentioned, this defense is healthy here, and all the good pass rushes are back. And Micah Parsons, this guy might win Defensive Rookie of the Year and Rookie of the Year. So right here, it's been a great season for Parsons. This pass rush is getting stronger, and Dan Quinn has these guys playing good football. So right here, this week at the Giants, this Cowboy defense is a start, in my opinion. So that's a few defenses I would start here for week 15 of the fantasy football season.